Sometimes, guys, I'll forget maybe where I came from. And I guess it's good and bad, but I think sometimes I need to back up and realize maybe what I used to make. Some of you need to step back and say, think about what you used to make and realize how many people out there, maybe even within your circle, who if you just had a chance to say, hey, hop in the car with me, how would this business change their lives? I think last week we had 5 new agents come aboard. We've got multiple agents in contracting and licensing right now, people taking, their state exam for the first time, and we're really about to explode. This summer is probably going to be one of our biggest ever. I think Scott, he didn't have his biggest, I don't think, ever, but possibly his biggest or close to biggest week ever in the field. And congratulations, Scott, on just a massive week. I'm sure March Madness had a little bit to do with it, but I'll tell you, it's good. A lot of good things happening. A lot of you guys are experiencing more success than you've ever experienced in your lives. And I want to tell you, man, momentum is a valuable thing. Momentum, something you need to cherish. When you need to be careful not to allow things to mess you up. There's been several times in my life where I was making great money, and I allowed certain things to just come in and mess me up. We'll call them sins, possibly. So it kind of leads me to my talk today. I want to talk to you about what I call the 7 deadly sins, okay, and what those look like and what it could do, what it could cost you. So many of you are probably making close to 200, maybe 250. Some of you are making 150. Some of you are making close to 350, all right? There are very few places in the world you can make that kind of money, and especially make that kind of money on a consistent level all the time, continually making that kind of money. We're in a special kind of business. We really are. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's hard, but I'll tell you, it's crazy, and it gets easier and easier and easier as the renewals start to add up, as they pile up over the years. Continue to get that trail of income coming in. It makes it so much better, okay? So I want to talk to you about the 7 deadly sins, and I hope you guys will take some notes on this, because I was thinking this morning about what are the things that have taken agents out over these. I've hired some agents over the years. Actually, Scott and I hired a couple agents probably 3-4 years ago now who were just beasts, man, ballers in the business. I've hired some personal ones, direct, that just failed out over time, and they should have stayed with us, should have made it, but they didn't. And what was the reason? So I've compiled this list of 7 things that I think take people out of the business, that hurt people, damage relationships, damage their ability to produce at a high level, that if you don't watch it, you could fall prey. Even myself, over the years, has had to watch on some of these. So let's talk about the first one. The first deadly sin is not being committed, really, to the company, the corporate structure, to what we're trying to do as a group, moving a certain direction. And I'm going to get real direct here, because I mentioned I talked to a lot of agents last week. I also talked to some agents that we're not going to hire. I'll tell you why. When we bring people in, I want them to catch our vision, catch our fire, catch our passion, catch what we're doing. You imagine if, let's say we take the Cleveland Indians, for instance. I used to watch them a lot, and they're playing as a team. They're focused as a team. They're driven as a team. They're working together. Somebody comes in and says, I don't want to do batting practice when the rest of the team does. I'm going to do it on my own time. Or, I'm not going to do team outings when the team does those. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to get together when everybody else does, because I don't care. I don't think it's necessary. Those kind of agents, they're just not for us. And they might be successful somewhere else. I doubt it. But I see it all the time. People come in, they want to dip their toe in. They see a measure of success in here that they want. They're like, my gosh, I'm struggling out here on my own. I'm by myself. I'm barely able to keep the lights on. But it's like there's something inside of them that rejects commitment, rejects plugging in. It's like there's this fear. And I'm just going to call it like it is. These are the same people that buy into the same BS thing that the next person brings along that says, hey, we need $500 and $50 a month, and And they do this over and over and over again, but they won't commit to the company for some weird reason. I don't know. Commit to the structure. Listen, you might ask me, I ask you guys all the time what the secret sauce is. And I'm just going to tell you what my secret sauce is. No matter what company I've ever been with, and my talk this morning doesn't mean you can't leave companies. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, if you want to be successful in life, you have to bury your head with who you're with. You've got to be 100% in. You've got to focus, decide that I'm going to make the most money here. I'm going to commit here. I'm going to plant a flag here. Wherever it's at. If it's not here, I mean, wherever you go, it should be that way. People who don't have that commitment level do not succeed. They eventually fail out of the business. The people I've lost over the years, they just weren't committed. They weren't committed to conference calls. More recently, I've lost a couple of people who were struggling, just doing a little bit of production here and there. And they're the easy pickings, because people who fall off, usually they're not on the conference calls. You guys know what I'm talking about. Never on the conference calls, never supporting team stuff, always have something better to do. It's a lack of commitment, okay? I promise you it will take you out of business at some point. Maybe not for a year, maybe 2, but at some point you're done. This business is a team sport. Write that down. This business is a team sport. It was meant to be played as such, okay? So number 1 of the deadly sins is not committed. All right, number 2 is not on a standing A lead order. Now, I got my start, really just hit the ground running when I first got started in mid-2009, early 2009, somewhere in there. Back then, we really had to go out on faith, because I had to spend around $4,500 to $5,500 up front and just start dropping leads. And back then, it was a hope on what we would get back. So we spent $1,000. We'd hope we'd get about a 1% return. And sometimes we did, and sometimes we got a little better. It just depended, but it was really a roller coaster ride. And I remember, company didn't finance. So if I didn't buy leads this week, 3 weeks from now, I wasn't going to work. But I still had it drilled into me that, hey, you have got to buy leads. You've got to buy leads. You've got to buy leads. Leads are the lifeblood of this business. I still remember my original mentor saying, Tony, leads are the lifeblood of the business. If you don't buy leads, you're going to go out of business. He's like, you don't want to spend money on leads this week? Well, you won't be able to pay your mortgage next month. And he was right. He was right. So, in my opinion, the second deadly sin is not being on a standing lead order. And why is it so important? Well, you got fresh people to see every week, guys. I've seen agents try to do it without, try to play the game. But what happens is they ultimately go into what's called the downward spiral. And it's a spiral of death. And I'm not trying to scare you guys this morning, but I'm just telling you, listen, the difference in success and failure in our industry is so close. Agent could be doing $5,000 weeks, having all this success, being, oh, man, I'm crushing it. And then all of a sudden, one day, they're like, man, I'm going to cut a couple weeks out. I'm going to take it a little easy. They get a few chargebacks. Then they're like, man, I'm writing through charges. They get their head wrong, mainly in this first year or two. After that, it's not as big a deal. But they go into the downward spiral, so they start selling mentally the wrong way. They get a negative attitude. They start thinking it's the company, the system. The leads are bad. Man, these leads are horrible. And it was all because they stopped buying, so now they're behind the 8 ball. Now they owe a little bit in chargebacks, and they're trying to pay their bills, and they don't have the people to go see. Listen, guys, the better problem to have is too many leads than too little leads. Listen to me. You always would much rather have an inventory of leads than to have too little leads. It's a bad place to be. So really do whatever it takes to make sure you commit and maintain your standing lead order. And some of you might disagree. Oh, man, Tony, you're just trying to make money on us and make money on leads. No. I'm just telling you, when I see leads go out, I see more production. That's the reality of it. There's a direct correlation. We sell 400 leads in a week, we see massive production. We sell 200 leads in a week, we see a lot less production. Okay? Leads are the lifeblood. All right? My job is to shoot you straight, not to always be liked. I'm just going to tell you. this is what you need to be successful. There are very few people. It's such a rarity. A few people who can actually go out and build enough referrals to be successful in this business. It's a rarity. Don't try to play the game. I'm going to be one of them. It doesn't work. So that was number 2. All right, let's get into number 3. Not starting the week early, not having a good schedule. This is, I kind of do these of importance, in my opinion, to some degree. So number 3 is pretty high up there on the 7 deadly sins. And, I used to have a guy that worked with us here in Columbus, and good guy, man, had a lot of talent. This kid could write $8,000, $10,000 all the time. But all through the week, I'm at the office working, and you guys know me. I'm always working all the time. Like I don't think I've taken a Saturday off since I can remember, other than for a family vacation. I work all the time, and maybe that's right, maybe it's not. For me, it's what I need to do. But for some of you just need to have a better schedule. All right, a more focused schedule. This agent was always taking off. He would try to get $8,000 done in 2 days. Sometimes he would do it, but more often than not, he wouldn't, and he wouldn't commit enough. All right? And people like this, they get behind the 8 ball, they start overselling, trying to get deposits, trying to take loans from the company. My wife would see him all the time at church functions, in the middle of the week on a Tuesday afternoon, just hanging out with his family. And there again, look, lifestyle's important, but this agent, I think, had laziness. I think didn't commit to a good schedule, wasn't focused enough. This is a guy that went from making possibly $150,000 a year to meet a banker now, getting a salary at like 55. Okay? Now he has to show up every morning from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Probably has to work some Saturdays too. And, he gets paid a modest wage for what he used to have was an awesome income, flexibility, but he took advantage of it. Okay? So not starting early in the week, not committing to a good schedule. Guys, I just want to encourage you. Today is Monday, man. Today should be your biggest day of the week, today and tomorrow. If you don't believe me, if you say, Tony, I've never written, big numbers. Listen, if you've never done it, really, and some of you can, I get it. Some of you have kids. Some of you have to watch your kids on Monday or whatever it is. Those are not the people I'm talking to. I'm talking to the ones who really want it, want to live that next level life. You want to get it. You want to 10x your business. You want to do crazy stuff. You have got to get out early and make it happen. I promise you. You're not gonna. The rest of the agents are going to pass you if you don't do this. The greats. You say, hey, what do? They're out early. They're getting it done. Let's go to number 4 of the deadly sins. Okay, number 4 is not going late. And this. I know this can be difficult for some of you, but I tell you, I really think if you want to make crazy, stupid money in our business, you got to go late some days. There were many a times I would drive home, and we always talk about people making it through their first year in the business. How do people make it? Well, they hate zeros. They absolutely hate zeros. Like I used to call Amy and say, look, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock. Still haven't got anything, but you know what? It's still light till about 9. I'm going to hit some more doors. I'm going to try to get something. And I'd sort through my leads and find the husbands and wives. I'm like, these look pretty good, You know what I'm talking about. The ones you think, there's some money in this one. You just feel it. So I'd go door knock those ones, trying to get a double, hit a double at the end of the day. And a lot of times, more times than not, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'd run an appointment or a door knock, end up going home with $1,800, $2,500. What it took all day. And all you hear on the calls in the morning is the glory. You hear the $2,500 on 3. But what you didn't realize was that agent stayed out until 8:30 and didn't get home till 11. But they made more money than many people make in a month. Guys, I'm telling you, you want to be successful in this thing. Now, the opposite is you could have went home at 6, called a 0 on the morning call, then you get up the next day and maybe catch a deal. You're half as productive. I just promise you, you're not going to be the same. You're not going to produce the 150s and the 200s. You're not going to do these kind of numbers. You need to stay out late sometimes. It's important. Not every day, but just sometimes. All right, number 5 on the deadly sins, not learning your presentation. It's a big deal, guys. People all the time, I'll ask them when they're struggling, well, tell me what you say in the present. Oh, well, they don't know their presentation. They don't know I don't know what you guys are doing when you're struggling. You're going to these houses saying, hey, I'm just here to talk to you about life insurance. Guys, it's a mess. Listen, you need to sit down with someone who's great, who's having success, and ask him. I mentioned this to you last week, Dom Thompson. We're going to hear from him again today. But last week, we're listening to him on the call, and you listen to the way his voice inflection is and the way he's just smooth, the way he just says things. That's how he talks to Mrs. Johnson, if you're wondering, okay? You need to learn that, man. You need to mimic that. Some of you need to hear what these guys say today on the call, and you need to just almost say it word for word, verbatim, until you can say it like they say it, okay? You might say, well, that sounds stupid, man, the way they say that. I don't care it sounds stupid. It works. Their pocketbook's full of $100 bills. Think about it, okay? I remember I was training a guy from Newark here, good guy, and I was talking to him about the way I sell on the house, and he actually rode with me. And he got to see me do some things, and I kind of did the little wow effect with Mrs. Johnson. And I forget what it was I said, but it was something that was just kind of, I got excited and said something off the cuff. And I do it in every house, though. Just I throw it out there. I don't even think about it. And he said, that sounds cheesy, something like that. I said, man, it works. So he went out and did it. And, of course, it worked. He says, Tone, it works. And I'm like, yeah, because I've been doing this for a long time. Don't argue with me. Just go do it. All right? Guys, listen to your mentors. They're there to help you. They're not going to tell you anything to make you look stupid. It's just part of it, okay? So learn the presentation. Get it down verbatim. And if you can't remember it verbatim, make some bullet points. Listen, you should at least be able to track yourself with bullet points. That's what I've always done. Like, you should memorize each portion. So think about each portion being like a paragraph. So first one, maybe, you got your warm-up. Well, you should know how to do a warm-up without having 50 words on a page telling you how to warm up with Mrs. Johnson, okay? You got the warm down at the end of your presentation. You should be able to do a warm down without looking at 50 words telling you how to warm down, okay? You should be able to recite the 3 guarantees without reading the 3 guarantees. All right? You should be able to tell stories about the 3 guarantees without reading those stories. You should be able to tell a personal story that's impactful during the presentation by only reading the bullet point personal story time. Okay? If you don't learn this stuff, you're not going to be successful. I promise. You're going to stutter. You're going to be off your game. You're not going to know what to say. Okay? Mrs. Johnson says something to you, you should not have come back. You should practice objections. It's all part of the presentation. I don't have time to get into all that today, but guys, it's important to learn your presentation, and we can always get better. I don't care how good you are. There's things you're going to hear on the call today. There's things I've heard all of you say that I'm like, wow, man, if I was in the field today full time, I would use that every single day because you can just hear it's gold. Never too great to learn, never too great to change. I could almost make that another deadly sin, but that would throw off my 7. So we're not going to do that. All right, let's go to number 6. All right, number 6, not cutting negative people out of your life. I'm like, so that doesn't sound like a deadly sin. Oh, it absolutely is probably one of the greatest. And I've got it toward the bottom, but man, I'll tell you, this could be the worst deadly sin. Every family, every company, every church has negative people. All right? And me just saying that just now made most of you think of someone. All of you just thought of someone, I guarantee you. Or you just did now. All right? You know what I'm talking about. Anyone particular who is just negative, brings you down, always talking problems, always complaining, no positivity. There's a reason why everything doesn't work, why my life is falling apart, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm just telling you, I'm not the only one that says it. It's across the board, people who are successful. You've got to cut some people out of your life if you want to be successful. And I don't mean, like, their family can be hard. Maybe you got to have a conversation like, look, you need to not be so negative around me, you know. But the reality is, in most cases, especially friends, They say that you're going to be as successful as the average income of your 5 closest friends. And it's funny when you have, I'll give you an example, like work-related conventions, the negative people always tend to mingle around the negative. Even if they don't know each other, they find each other. The people who are positive, man, they get around each other. The greats always shake each other's hands and want to talk. You'll see it at things, okay? Why is that? I think energy attracts energy, okay? You want to be around negative energy, negative people. We're going to hear some crazy numbers today. I mean, guys, I'm proud. I am dang proud of where this company is going. You guys are on fire, man. You truly are going with the Navy SEAL model. I mean, absolutely crushing it. There's some people, though, who are like, well, the company is this, and there's that, and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to try to put negativity in there. Some of these guys are going to make $300,000 this year. They're not going to allow negativity inside. They're going to shut that out. Why? Because they don't have time for it. I get calls all the time, something you guys don't talk too much about. But I got a call from a very prominent owner of an insurance company recently, and I just didn't take the call. I get these calls every now and again from various people. Of course, they're going to make huge offers to me, tell me they're going to do X, Y, Z for me, and this and this and this. And, I'm happy doing what we're doing. And I don't need time to get my head off. I don't have time for that. Does that make sense? I'm not looking to change directions. People try to sell me on the next thing, this, that. Hey, you need to be doing this. No, I don't. I have people call me the other day, say I need to sell something else in the house. There's like alarm systems or something. Hey, you didn't have your team. Well, one thing you guys got to realize, I protect you like no tomorrow. I mean, I care. Somebody tried to tell me that we need to start selling this network marketing thing in the houses, and they wanted to get access to all. I'm like, hell no. Sorry my language, but, you don't realize how many people try to mess things up. When you got something special, people try to get in your group. They see something successful, and they want to latch on to it. But the problem is they don't understand why we were successful to begin with, because we are carefully making sure we monitor those 7 deadly sins from the top down. All right? So, guys, you got to cut negative people out. Man, if you're one of those ones who is maybe, let's say, doing a certain production level that's not where you want it to be, you need to be talking to the greats all the time. You need to be calling them up. You need to call Dom Thompson and say, listen, man, I want to be just like you. Tell me what to do. And you need to just, let him tell you what to do. Don't go call the person who's doing your production and ask them how to do it or what problems they have with the company or what they think we could do to make your life better. Look, we're working very hard to make it, but I'm telling you, no matter where you're at in life, company, family, church, it does not matter. You can either choose to make your situation better or you can choose to associate with negative people who are going to drag you down. Guys, that's a big one. Okay, I'm telling you. You got to choose to ignore some people in life to go ahead and keep moving forward. You got to choose to cut some people out to keep moving forward. You got to be the decider on that. It's very important. Number 7, not seeing the value in your upline. And this is one I think is really, really important. And this is something I haven't personally dealt with this too much, but I've seen it over the years where someone was having crazy success working with one of our leaders. And all of a sudden they started getting this attitude like, I'm better. I'm as good. Man, they don't deserve to make an override on me. Man, I don't think I'm getting what I need out of this person. And I'll tell you, actually, I'm going to tell you, there's 4 individuals that come to mind over the 9 years I've been doing insurance who ended up developing that attitude, kind of got hostile toward the person they were working with and didn't see the value in them. None of those individuals are even in insurance anymore, completely out of it. And it's not about fear. I'm not trying to put fear. I'm trying to tell you guys the truth. There's something about commitment, leadership, following success, jumping on the bandwagon, going all in. Are you hearing that common theme? The person who is probably the people who make the most money in this company are the ones who I see have the highest level of commitment every week. You know, I've never heard them complain about the value of their upline or the person who's making money over them. I'm telling you guys, these are very important principles in business if you want to be successful. All right? You've got to learn to make sure you use your upline. Pull on them. Now, if your upline's lazy, doesn't go to work, isn't know what they're supposed to do, we're going to have a problem in a talk, for sure, okay? But you know what I'm talking about. I think everybody knows. So let me just do a quick recap on the 7 deadly sins. Number 1 is not having commitment to really the team and where it's going. Very important. You're not 100%. You're dipping your toes. You're playing the game. Hey, I'm going to be here, but I'm not really here. I'm doing something else on the side. You know what I'm talking about. Never, ever make it. Number 2, no standing lead order. Number 3, not starting your week early, not having a good schedule. Number 4, not going late at least twice a week. Very important. Number 5, not learning the presentation. Number 6, not cutting negative people out of your life. Number 7, not seeing the value in your upline, or we could even say the company, but probably upline more importantly than anything, because I think people don't realize how much value a mentor gives you. And that's what your upline really is. They're a mentor. They help you be successful. And I think most mentors or uplines I've met over the years care very much about where their people go and how to help them be successful, guys. So lean on them, pull. It's going to help you a lot over the years. So